A warm welcome to you and yours. It's your girl, Lamiez Holworthy, your tattooed lady for everyone, really. And you're tuned into your third episode of the Amstel Master Sessions, proudly brought to you by Amstel SA. Tonight's episode is where we give you the 411 on the business of music. A big shout out to our first special guest, DJ Hudson. We had the beautiful Soul. And tonight, our master DJ, Vinny Davinci, is joined by none other than Lulo Cafe. For you guys at home, to get going in on the conversation, do be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Amstel SA on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. And also, don't forget our official hashtag, which is Amstel Master Sessions. Really is that simple. So here's your 411 on how to go from amateur to professional DJ like this. You know we got you. Warm welcome to you and yours. And if you've just joined us, with me and our master for this evening, or rather today, is Lulo Cafe, and we'll be talking the business of music. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
La Perle Green, I think that is just amazing. I think that is amazing. You guys take pride seriously.
Yeah.
Now let's get straight into it.
Yes.
Like for anyone that would love to be a professional DJ, what is the business side that they should know about?
Well, I think if there's one thing that most of us, or actually the industry in general, has overlooked, is that actually, yes, this is a business. It's dependent on a lot of things, on your relationships with brands, on your relationships with venue owners, your relationships with the industry in general. You know, so in all that, that's where the business happens. And obviously, you need to run it as a fully fledged business with. I know not all of us can afford to have someone who's actually doing your admin and everything, but there's a lot of admin to it. And, you know, it needs to be done at a speedy process for you to send out invoices, communicate back to requests and things like that. So the business of it literally still is run like a general business. And again, you as the DJ become the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, as human as you are actually the the actual product.
You're a product.
It doesn't feel nice sometimes, but it is like that. Yeah.
What's the 411 or the most important things that I should know as a business right now?
It really is important to open your mind up to seeing what's happening around you. Why is Vinny doing things this way? You know, understanding simple things like being on time for your gigs, arriving a bit earlier, you know, and so that sometimes like an interaction with people, Jay, before you play or after you play is very important. I know sometimes we are too busy. We want to walk in and walk out, but there's missed opportunities there to actually create relations with people that come to support you. Also, obviously, just being a disciplined person. I know we work in a space of fun and drinking and, you know, and
responsibly.
But there's a sort of element of recklessness that's viewed in our industry. But as people who operate in it, we need to be the responsible ones who carry ourselves as brands and as products of this business right here.
All this knowledge didn't come from nowhere.
Yeah.
So when did you know that you were a business?
And you learn it from trial and error, actually. That's the funny thing, because what's introduced to you first in the entertainment industry is the glitz and glamour and the fun part and the lifestyle, you know. And then as you continue working, you realize that, okay, now I'm dealing with money, I'm dealing with brands, I'm dealing with people with solid businesses. So for me, it came as in fact, in 2009, and I'm starting to operate in a space of established brands. And I'm realizing there's a certain way people move. There's a certain texture in who we are as DJs and just operating within the industry. And I'm learning, and I meet someone, I'm like, yo, okay, I'm struggling now to respond speedily to requests, because people now want proper invoices. That's when I really had to like catch up and set myself up properly as a business. It takes time, but I think it's the most important thing to do. I wish I had done it earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah, but I think it's the most important part of of what we do as DJs to take care of ASAP.
I always say, like, for any upcoming artist, that you are a walking billboard for your brand.
Absolutely.
But something that I think a lot of people take for granted is social media. So if you use your social media wisely, chances of you needing a manager right now are very slim. This is just my opinion. But if you have strong social following and you make sure that you are posting relevant pictures that have or videos or your music on your social media platforms, people are then able to discover you through that.
From my experience, I mean, yes, I've been in this game for... Okay, yeah.
How many years?
How many years have you been in this game?
Forever.
What's forever?
It's,
A very vague answer.
80s?
well, it's no, not 80s. Not. I've been doing this for 3 decades. Let me put it that way.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So when when social media came up, like, okay, I think I was one of the few old school DJs to jump on to this new thing because I'm friends with youngsters like Lulu, and I can see them every time we're out there. Like they're on the phone. I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm learning. I mean, friends of mine who we all came up together, you tell them, there's a thing called Facebook. It's like, what is that? There's Twitter. No, what is that? Nah, don't have time for that. We believe in the old school way of doing things. I need a flyer. I need to see a flyer on the street. I need to see this.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but you can send that flyer via
Social media.
this thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, social media played, I think it still does. I mean, depending on how many followers you have, I can fill up this venue just like that by just one tweet of saying, I'm going to this venue at this time. One tweet, done. So it works. I mean, we need it, and it's how you use it.
Yeah, I like that because a lot of people are reckless on social media.
Course, yeah,
and Walibala, that is a direct reflection of you as a brand. Do be sure to join in on the conversation on social media. We are at Amstel SA on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. And don't forget the official hashtag, which is Amstel Master Sessions.
How do you brand yourself as an upcoming? It's the full package of who you are. If you're doing a certain style of music, there's a certain type of way you DJ. There's a certain type of way you even dress. There's a certain type of way in which you communicate your brand on social medias and all those other spaces. So it's important to actually group all of that together and make it a cool package that literally, even as you walk in, it says, there is Lulo Cafe.
As an upcoming artist, how am I guaranteed brand sponsorships or any big brand or brand that I'd love to work with would want to work with me?
It goes back to social media and just yourself as the product. How do you carry yourself? Because, I mean, I have not worked in a corporate brand space, but I would assume that they literally view you holistically in that way. Like, what are you communicating on your social medias, which has become like very important of lately. What are you communicating? And it's not just from the one tweet or the one post on Instagram. It's how you've carried your story from like throughout the years in your social media. Like, okay, we see your story now.
So what's the one thing in your business that you can't do without?
What else can I do without?
Your manager?
Yeah, my manager. Come on, that's obvious. Our manager has literally carried it, And for some reason, she has the ability to work out a schedule better than I do. With her, we literally started from scratch together. And that's probably like the core of management. You really do not come to an up-and-coming artist and expect to get paid like a full salary or whatever. Obviously, you observe who you're dealing with. And as a manager, you get to know how much they're making. And you literally grow with them. So in us talking about getting a manager, it's literally that find someone that you can grow with. It's actually great to, like, ideally be with one manager for the longest time because they get to understand you.
Yeah. What's the approach that a manager should take?
At the very beginning, I think obviously they'll take care of the admin must be at a speedy rate. But I think most importantly, again, because they are now your, what's the word?
Spokesperson.
Your mouthpiece. Yeah.
Yeah.
They literally speak for you. So they need to sort of mirror the person who's coming here. If Lamiez is coming, if Lamiez is coming, I need to feel like I spoke to Lamiez through the manager. It must feel like it's one person.
It has to be someone that genuinely believes in you and what you're selling.
Really
Uncle
has to
Vinny,
be.
for someone at home who doesn't understand how they should work with a manager, like in terms of the percentage or how that should work, what's your opinion on that?
Like what Lou was saying, someone who knows you from, back in the day.
Yeah.
They like what you do. And in the beginning it was like, okay, fine, now how do I pay you? Because I've never done this before.
Yeah.
It's like, no, when you're ready to pay me, we can talk.
You're lucky.
You know what I mean? When you're ready to pay me, we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm here, just let's work.
Yeah.
Let's make things happen. Yeah.
It's really important that we have this conversation regarding managers, because we've seen artists get ripped off
Of
by
course.
their managers.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm asking, like for an upcoming artist who knows nothing about the industry, what's my standard rate that I should be negotiating with or negotiating on with my manager? So is it safe to say between 10 and 20%?
10 and 20. That's been the standard rate for everyone. But again, like there are so many different approaches to this, like also Vinny has mentioned. There are people you literally start from scratch with, and they literally know what you're making, and they can be like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's make more money, and you give them a certain percentage, and to some point you get to a literal salary. Or whatever. It just depends on how far the business is growing.
Yes.
So I think yes, as a standard 10, 20%, but eventually it needs to get to a proper contract where you guys have an agreement, because I think that's something we have lacked in our business for a very long time, where we agree in J because I know you, you know me, let's agree. And then when
it doesn't work out in the end.
when it comes to sort of some sort of disagreement and things have to come to litigation, there's no contract.
For an upcoming producer or artist, or a DJ who started releasing my own music, how can I make money from that?
The streams for music now, they're so tricky now. Because now, I mean, the revenue stream for music in general was selling the song. And also when the song is playing on radio, you get publishing. And obviously, like if there's a music video as well, you get it. But now, I mean, there's the music selling part of it is on streams, which is like 0.07 per stream.
Yes,
That's, you need like 1 million to make something. Yeah. So, I mean, it's that, and it's obviously publishing, so you need to get your song to be playing out everywhere on radio stations. That's good money that you get unexpectedly.
How do I do that?
You literally register your song with a publisher or Samro directly. And that's one thing I think everyone needs to know. You can literally go directly to Samro. You don't need a middleman. Samro is South African Music Rights Organization. They literally handle and administer everything. And for me, they are the official music rights organization. So you go there and they literally register you. And each time you release music, you obviously notify them. You get your ISRC numbers from RISA, which is the tracking number for when your song is playing around on radio. So when you submit your music to radio as well, you give all those details, and thus the publisher is able to trace it through that number. So it's important to actually notify your music, because when your music plays on radio, there's money to be made.
How do I
for
get my
life.
music on radio?
Make sure you have
Registered
registered your
first.
song.
It must be
Then, by
at
then
some
it
rate.
becomes officially your intellectual property. Because if you're just giving someone a song and
I
you've
can
just
take
made
it,
it in studio, that's it. Like there's nothing that says they can't just take it and release
it
it
as
as
their
their
own.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no agreement.
We've seen that
nothing.
happen a lot of times.
Yes.
So it's tricky, but I have a gripe with the fact that there isn't information out there on how to get your music on radio and everything, because all you'll probably get is an email address.
That's all you.
And
I mean,
radio stations on their part, they've also tried to have an automated response. But I understand that it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you don't know And the thing is also, it's not anyone's responsibility to tell you if your song is good or not.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Really important?
Yeah. It's not like, but I think it's important for you to do the groundwork, especially when you.
What is the groundwork?
The groundwork, you need to be out there at events,
Research,
just hanging out, creating relations, talking to people, dealing with a lot of rejection, but still keeping it going and until Elulo, as you hand him the song, will listen to it. Example, Better Days by Prince KB. I don't know how the song got anywhere, but I literally heard it from Fistas in Durban, and I was like, what the hell? Give me this,
Take
you
it,
know? And it didn't have a name.
That's also, I also got it from business, actually. Yeah.
It didn't have a name, you know? And literally how I found out whose song it was, I was playing it in Bloom. And this dreadlock guy came running. And it was Prince KB. He's like, yo, this is my song, man. I'm like, really? We've been asking so many times whose song this is. And for me, it's that he was there to actually come say, yo, this is me.
Yes.
So for me, that's sort of the groundwork. There's no certain path to do it, but just be there, exist in the industry so that you can see how everything operates and create relations. And eventually you'll start to see the channels of getting your music into radio. Your music doesn't really need to go directly to Metro.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be big in the streets and Metro will
And
catch
somebody's
on.
gonna catch on.
Thank you so much. I, for one, cannot agree. I mean, we could go on for days when it comes to being professional and treating your business like a business. A big thank you to you guys. If you still haven't, do be sure to join in on the conversation on social media. We are at Amstel SA on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. And don't forget the official hashtag, which is Amstel Master Sessions.
It's important to start it from the point that as a DJ or a performer or any sort of thing that's in the industry, when you're booked at a venue, you must treat that as a sort of collaboration for that day. It's always negotiable. It's always open to be negotiated depending on the relationships you have. But essentially, this is a business, you end up having to charge, but make sure you also bring your part in this. You have more influence in bringing the crowd into a venue and also just creating a vibe.
And just like that, we've come to the end of our third episode of the Amstel Master Sessions, proudly brought to you by the friends of Amstel SA. Let's keep the conversation going until next week. We are at Amstel SA on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube, obviously. Don't forget the official hashtag, which is Amstel Master Sessions. A big shout out to our master DJ, Vinny Davinci, and also our special guest, Lulo Cafe. On next week, which sadly happens to be our last one, we have my favorite DJ, Durban Gogo, as one of our guests. So let me know what questions you guys have for her and also what you guys think about the show. See you same time, same place next week.